Bangkok Shocks, Saigon Shakes, Hanoi Rocks. That was the first album by Hanoi Rocks in 1981. What a great record. And when those guys hit the scene, all of us real rockers were like, whoa, hold the presses. And you know what, man? I have been a lifelong fan of Michael Monroe and everything he's done, from Hanoi Rocks to Jerusalem Slim, Demolition 23, and every single one of his solo albums is in my collection. Yep, I have every single thing that Michael Monroe has ever put out, proudly. And it's just a great collection of music. Michael Monroe, he's definitely the best kept secret in rock and roll. I have a lot of Hanoi Rocks and Michael related stuff, so I'm kind of a fanatic. I mean, I've got it all. It took me a long time to go to ends of the earth, of course, to collect all this great music, meaning getting on Discogs and eBay and places like that and finding this stuff. And, you know, places that were selling it currently, so the money goes right to Michael's pocket, hopefully. But yeah, you know, there's nothing like a great Michael Monroe record. And you know what, folks? In 2022, Michael released one of the best albums of his entire career. As a matter of fact, he released an album called I Live Too Fast to Die Young. Sorry for the black and white image, but this is the cover, what it looks like. I Live Too Fast to Die Young is probably one of the best songs that Michael Monroe ever did. And should I rephrase that? I think it's one of the best albums in his entire solo career. I really do. I mean, some people just age like a fine wine, and Michael obviously does in the rock and roll department, bro. Can't give Michael Monroe enough respect, and I don't think he's gotten enough respect. Sure, he's got multitudes of fans across the planet, mega rock stars that love him, bands that will say they were influenced by him and his band Hanoi Rocks, but when it comes to the United States, you know, Michael doesn't play here often because it just, there's not enough of a fan base based on sales, because everything is based on money in this world. But if you based it on true talent and true rock and roll and kick-ass music, this guy here, Michael Monroe, would be at the top of the charts and everyone would know him in every household. But that's the purpose of this video, is to maybe even influence a few young rockers that might not know. So I'm here to say, hey, let's sit back and talk about the path that Michael Monroe took. And that path is rock and roll. Yep, he's a legend, man. One of the best kept secrets in rock and roll. Thanks to my friend Marag over in Scotland, who picked up this great Michael Monroe concert shirt when she was over in seeing Michael over in England, I believe. Yes, and she got this for me as a gift, and I really cherish it. And you know, I'm hoping that Michael Monroe will see this video. My email is down below. I would love to hear from my hero. You know, the old story goes, Michael was very big fans of Stiv Bators from the Dead Boys and Johnny Thunders of the New York Dolls. And he was a huge fan, like anybody should be, and like many of you are. And he reached out to those guys and became not only friends, but roommates and like this with those guys, you know, like this. And, you know, this is sort of my attempt to say, hey, Michael, I have done records for 40 years. I have done tributes to Alice Cooper and Iggy Pop. This is my third tribute ever, and it's on my new album, Bloody F Mess, Dark Days Unfazed, produced by the great Paul Roessler from the Screamers, the Nina Hagen Band, 45 Grave, and it's got a multitude of great artists on it that are guests on this album. But I'm going to zero in on the one song on this album that I came here to talk about, and that's a song which is song number 3, and it's called Michael Monroe, right there. As you can see, it features backing vocals by the drummer for the Germs, Don Bowles. What a legend. When he came into the studio to do vocals for this thing, he transformed it into something much cooler than it was when it started. Thank you, Don Bowles. You're a freaking legend, man. Also, backing vocals on this album, the great Bill Meisner. Yeah, from Bloody Mess and the Scabs. He wrote the song Empty musically. He was in Sub 13. Also, Lydia Paweski, who's done so many backing vocals and lead vocals on a lot of records, including quite a few from the band MDC. And Jordan Longyear from Scotland came all the way from Scotland to contribute vocals to this album, and he put on some awesome backing vocals on this too. So you've got Don Bowles of the Germs alone, right? And then add in all these great legends. It's just a cool tune, man. I don't normally toot my own horn with my music. I'm pretty self-critical, like many of you artists are. But Dave Moe, what a blessing he is in my life. This guy sends me a tape, a recording of this song, Michael Monroe, and it's him on guitar bass and drums, and it just kills. It's awesome. It is a great rock and roll tune, so I thought, I've got to record this thing. And I did. I did the vocals in a few takes, and I want to read to you guys the lyrics to the song, because it's important to me that Michael hears this and that you guys hear this. Plus, it's kind of like sharing poetry through rock and roll means, right? The album is also available not only on vinyl, but CD as well. So if you're interested, my email is down below in the description area. If you want to contact me, I've got vinyl or CDs available thanks to Ragged Records and Fanatic Records, and it's on all music streaming platforms via Ponk Media. Thank you, Ponk Media. So I'm going to read to you guys the lyrics to my song, Michael Monroe. Here we go. The best kept secret in rock and roll goes by the name of Michael Monroe. Punk and roll poet, cooler than cool, put the Guns in Roses and Motley in the crew. Living, eating, breathing, religion, rock and roll, you gotta give it up for Michael Monroe. Mascara legend, harp and saxophone, Gypsy Street rocker calling Finland his home. And then the chorus comes in, Michael, and it's a gang chorus. They call these gang vocals. It's amazing. Michael Monroe, a real rocker. Michael Monroe. And then Dave Moe explodes with this awesome guitar part that's just really catchy. A lot of people that have reviewed this album have said they really liked this song, Michael Monroe. And it's been getting radio airplay on my FM radio show, because my show's been on for almost 25 years. We're syndicated. We have listeners in about 8 or 9 countries. As a matter of fact, I'm going on the air in about 2 hours down at KSKQ Radio. And I'm going to be playing tonight, to start off the show, Michael Monroe. And the rest of the song goes like this. Blasting Michael Monroe on the radio in a sellout world. There's nowhere to go. Such a living legend. The gods of rock. Alice, Stiv, Ramones, Johnny Thunders, Iggy Pop. Never giving up. Never giving in. Looking for some truth. Yeah, it's not a sin. With age comes wisdom, but act your rage. Rock and roll freedom on a rock and roll stage. Michael Monroe, a real rocker. That's how it goes, man. And then there's the next verse, which what I did was I took a list of all of the albums that I own by Michael Monroe and Hanoi Rocks. I wrote them on paper. I started switching them around on different days and spending time artistically, almost poetically. And I decided to construct one of my sets of verses with lyrics comprised of nothing but album titles from his solo albums and the Hanoi Rocks albums. So that's what I did, and I hope you guys like it. So it goes like this. Life gets you dirty with self-destruction blues. Back to Mystery City, 2 steps from the move. Another hostile takeover, all those wasted years. 12 shots on the rocks. Nights are so long. Blackout states. Take 'em and break 'em. Sensory overdrive. Horns and halos. Rock and roll divorce. Street poetry. Oriental beat. Hanoi Rocks, another night in the sun. Yeah! And that's kind of how it goes. And at the end it says, Michael Monroe rocks on the drum beat right there, you know. Thanks to Dave Moe for doing that song. I hope you guys will consider subscribing to this channel. I would really appreciate it, rockers. And if Michael Monroe is a friend of yours, or if you're Michael Monroe, please somehow get this video to Michael. I would love to have Michael reach out. I do believe in my heart he's the kind of guy that would, because I would love to interview Michael on my radio show, maybe with a Skype interview for 20 or 30 minutes even. I would be so grateful. Thanks to you guys for being real rockers, for checking out my channel. Please give it a like if you liked it. Leave a comment. Let me know. What is your favorite Michael Monroe song? What is your favorite Michael album? I want to know. Let's start a Michael Monroe dialogue. Yeah. Shout out to all the Finland rockers out there. Much respect, much love to Michael Monroe. Thank you for your years of music and all the sweat, blood, and tears you've given to rock and roll. More coming soon. And all I can say is Hanoi Rocks. Michael Monroe is the best, and his new album, I Live Too Fast to Die Young, released in 2022. Arguably one of the best, if not the best album of the man's career. Maybe I'm repeating myself here, but I've got to get it to you, man. You've got to hear this album. I Live Too Fast to Die Young. With a title like that, how could it not be absolutely the real deal? Because the best kept secret in rock and roll does go by the name, yep, of Michael Monroe. Thanks for being here, guys. Catch you soon with more rock and roll tales. Long live Michael Monroe. Om Namah Shivaya.